Oh, try 17. Nope, 18. Yeah, okay. It's okay. There's a brief there, there's a verse there that says, help me then in brief to take whatever appears in my life. Okay? I'll just repeat it so get you in the mood. Help me then in brief to take whatever appears in my life, the good or bad, and use the practice of 5 different powers to turn it into a path for increasing the 2 forms of the wish for enlightenment. Give me your blessing then to feel nothing but joy. What are the 5 different powers, right? I mean, they're not there. So I thought I'd give you those 5. All right. And they relate to the next subject that I wanted to talk about. Which is doing Tonglen practice, compassion meditation at your death, at the moment of your death. Okay, this is just what do you call that? In Tibetan, it's called gyala, which means in the off chance that anyone here does have to go through a normal death. Okay, well. I really don't want you to go through normal death. I mean, it's my whole purpose of my life that you don't go through normal death, okay? But in the off chance that it's fast, we'll see. Okay, 5 powers are, first one is Dundine Chanjuma Toki Pardon, Yewa Dang Sekang Dang, Lo Dawa Sha, Tana Tunchik Tunchen, Dang Zingi Wong Dawa. Chanjugi Sem Gombala Sopatidan Di Jawan Yamdu Pembatop. Pembatop means the power of intention. Okay, the power of intention. And it's to say that it's my intention that over the whole course of my life, I will not spend the course of my life believing in self-existence or in self-cherishing. Okay? Those are 2 different things. It's my intention that I will not spend my entire life thinking about selfishness, being selfish, or seeing things as self-existent. Then he says, I also state my intention that, I'm sorry, he doesn't say over the course of my life. He says over the course of all my future lives. Okay, this and all my future lives. And then he says, by the way, let's say over the course of my whole rest of my life, I refuse, I hereby declare independence from these 2 attitudes. Okay. And then he says, I refuse to even, for 1997 and the rest of rest of 97 and 98, I refuse to have those 2 attitudes during those 2 years. How's that? That's better. And he says, wait a minute, how about December? I refuse that during December. I refuse during December to have any one of these 2, even for that long. I will stop those 2, selfishness and seeing things as self-existent. Okay. He says, wait a minute, how about the rest of today? Okay. I'll cut it off before the end of today. And then he says, Tana Tunchik. Tunchik means 1 session of a class, okay? So before I get up from this class, I will declare independence from those 2. I will never have them again, starting with this class, okay? Starting with the rest of this class. And that's intention, good intention. The word in Tibetan is very strong. It means to pemba, pembe top. Pemba means when you shoot an arrow, it's called pemba. The kind of karma that projects your life, your next birth is called penjekile. You see, that's the meaning of pen. Pen means to shoot. or to project into the future. And that's going to be important, okay? So remember that one. Next one is Detabu Yan Yan Tenin Diwar Chepa Gombeto. Gombeto means you have to think about that over and over again until you get used to the idea that your two big enemies are selfishness and seeing things as self-existent. Okay, those two things. They're not the same state of mind, okay? But they're obviously closely related. When we say things don't have a self, or Buddhists say that nothing has a self, they're not talking about people. They're not talking about a person necessarily. A good example would be the candle that I held up in the church where we had the first night's talk. And we decided that it was neither a candle nor what? A chewable object, okay? From its own side. You know, to a dog who walks into that place, it looks like a chewable object. To a human who walks in there who's seen a candle before and who knows what a candle is, it looks like a candle. Both perceptions are valid. Which one's correct? See, Buddhism draws a distinction between valid and correct. Okay? They're both valid because to each of those people, that's a reasonable thing to say or to bark. Okay? Which is correct?
Can be empty.
Neither one, right? Okay? What's correct is that it's neither one. It's really neither one. And that's what we call self. You can think of self as its own nature, you see? Does it have a nature of being a candle by itself? No. Does it have a nature of being a chewable object by itself? No. Here's a tricky one. What about the raw data? Does it have a nature of being a purple cylinder by itself? No, you see, you can keep going down in levels. It's very subtle. The object upon which you are imposing your projection, which means the raw data, the purple cylinder, upon examination, takes on the same emptiness as the things you were talking about. And if you examined the purpleness, it would get the same. And if you examined the top of the purpleness, it would be the same. And if you examine the top of the purpleness, it would be the same. And that's one way to establish emptiness. You can go down to ad infinitum, and you won't find anything there. And that's one way of establishing emptiness. Okay. So to get used to that idea is number two. Okay. To get used to the idea that my two big enemies are seeing things as self-existent and being selfish. Being selfish and seeing things as self-existent are not the same state of mind. They are very closely related. You know, if you have a group of people and you like to get together once in a while and listen to music, and you have a song that self-existently is the best song in the world. You know, you really can't see why other people don't understand that. You know, it's obviously Neil Young's first album is the best music that's ever been written, you know, seriously. And no, self-existently, meaning not from me, I mean, from its own side. And rap, you know, rap music, and, sorry Robbie, opera, and opera are self-existently, you know, bad from their own side. You know? That belief which you have, you know, that belief which you have leads to the second kind. You see what I mean? Selfishness. I want to play my song. You know, you can't play your song. You know, play mine and you'll see the truth. You know, you know, you'll give up on that other one. You see what I mean? And they're closely related. You truly do believe that the person you don't like is bad from their own side, and that it's not you. You know, so you go around your office trying to convince all those people who didn't recognize it yet. You know what I mean? The confirmation is very comforting, you know, when you finally find someone who doesn't like them either. You know, you found at least one other sane person in the office, you know. So obviously selfishness and grasping to a self-nature, you see? Self-nature meaning that thing has its own nature. Self in Buddhism means its own nature. No object in the universe has any nature of its own. It's very profound, okay? nothing is itself from its own side. Okay? That might have been a better way to say it. Emptiness can be defined or described as the fact that nothing is itself from its own side. Okay? So who cares? I mean, you can get a little bit lost, right? If nothing is itself from its own side, you know, what am I supposed to have for breakfast? You see what I mean? It gets disorienting. And we'll talk about it, okay? It's the fact that nothing is itself from its own side that saves your rear end. Okay? Because things are that way, we have hope of reaching nirvana and Buddhahood. If things weren't that way, it would be hopeless. Okay? It's only because things don't have their own nature that we can see them as a Buddha paradise. Because if they had their own nature, and if they were stuck being what they are for me now, you know, you might as well either go to a bar or kill yourself. You know what I mean? It's because they're empty that you have hope. They can change. They don't have their own nature. If they did have their own nature, life would be hopeless. Okay? Because they don't have their own nature, everything is possible. Okay? All of our hope is due to the fact of emptiness. Okay? Number 3. The next one is called the power of the power of the white seed. Okay, the power of the white seed. White seed, like white being goodness and seed being, I guess it's a cause, virtuous cause. He says, with the intention that whatever bodhicitta you already have, you should not lose it, and that conversely it should increase, you undertake to offer to your Lama and to enlightened beings everything beautiful you can find. And then he says, Musham Yitu means, doesn't matter whether you really put it on the altar or whether you just imagine it. Dr. Sungwa and Dr. Masungwa means, doesn't matter whether you own it, you know, like you go out and buy some schoolboy cookies and offer them, or you offer the sunset or the sky or some wildflowers on the side of the road. Okay? Highway 9 florist. I get a lot of flowers from them. This is a highway that goes outside of our temple, and when people are rushing to class and they don't have time to buy anything, I get some of these nice what do they call them? They're called what do they call them? Something lace. Anyway, Queen's lace, Queen Anne's lace. Yeah. Okay, that's Dr. Masungwa. You know, that's like free flowers. You see. By the way, which I really like, and I'm not, you know, I think sometimes they're more beautiful. But the point is, he says here you can offer the moon, you can offer the sun, you can offer beautiful water, you can offer the stars in the sky, you can offer forests, you can offer amber ways of grain. Okay, he has a long list here. All right. And that's power number 3. Number 4 is Sunjinbe Top, which means the power of destruction. It's the same name as one of the powers in the 4 forces, yeah, okay, which is called, it's the force of destruction. This here is 3 steps. Learn, identify your main enemies, which are 2, right? Selfishness and grasping to a self-nature. Identify your main enemies. By the way, as long as you grasp to a self-nature, you will believe that your songs are the best, and you will have problems with other people. You see what I mean? That's where liking and disliking come from. And they cause all of your suffering. Okay? So, this is a big enemy. So he says, recognize that they are a big enemy, step 1. Step 2, learn to hate them. Okay? This is not ignorant hatred, okay? This is intelligent hatred, all right? You're hating your own selfishness, okay? And not in a bad way, in a good way, okay? And Jombarchepa, you undertake to destroy them. And that's power number 4. Number 5 is the power of prayer. And this is to say, no matter what good things I do, I dedicate them all to developing bodhicitta. Okay? Every good thing I do during the day, I make a prayer that it helps my bodhicitta get stronger. And that's the power of prayer. The reason I brought this up is that there's a secret book, okay? It's a commentary on, let me see. It's a commentary on the Lama Chupa. By the way, the Lama Chupa is Tantra, okay? I asked my Lama to teach it to us, he refused, okay? And he said we're not ready for it. You know, he's never, at least that I've been to, he's never taught it. You're allowed to recite it during soks, in general. You know, it's not secret in the monastery. I mean, you're allowed to recite it, but he's never given the whole teaching on it. He has taught these sections, and so that's all right. But in general, it's a very heavy text, and he considers it that category. Okay, so we actually don't do it. That's a long story, and I'm not saying either way. But what I'm saying is there is a secret commentary on it. There's a certain point in it which is useful, and I think we can go over that. Chikan nature drapo machuna leng duk, which means he redefines power number 1. Okay, he's giving a different definition of power number 1, which is what? It's intention. Is there a better word for that? I don't know. It's what you want to happen, and it's projecting out into the future. You see what I mean? What do you call it? Yeah, maybe. Anyway, let's say intention for now. It's what you want to happen in the future. Okay, and he redefines it. Okay, he says chikar nature drapo machungna legdu. Chikar means at the moment that I die. Okay. Nature means nature drapo. Nature is a special word. It only occurs in one place in all of the scriptures, and it's used to describe the pain that it feels like to die. Okay, and there's no other place that word is used. Nature. Ne means crucial moment or crucial key or something like that. Chu means to cut. And nature is a special, it's the pain of knowing that you're about to die. You know, it's the pain of being in the middle of your death. They say even bugs feel it. You know, if you crush a bug, then at a certain point they feel nature. I had people, especially people in their 20s, you know, say, I'm excited about death, you know, I'd like to see what's going to happen and stuff like that. And then you take them up on the roof of a building in New York, you know, and you say, stand at the edge, you know, and then you hold their shoulders real hard, okay, and you go like that, and there's this involuntary thing, you know, of this jerk that you really don't want to die. I think you've been through it so many times and you know how bad it is that when the moment comes, you fight like crazy. You know what I mean? You would fight. Most people do fight, you know, unless you're really like crazy and you commit suicide or something. But a normal human being has this instinct not to die. and violent instinct not to die, and will do anything not to die. And I believe it's because we've been through nature thousands, millions of times, and you don't want to feel it again. You know what I mean? It's some kind of special pain at the moment of death. It's some kind of knowledge. It's mixed up, they say in the scriptures, with the fear that you are losing your own being. You know, you are losing your own self or your own identity, and that would be some kind of special suffering. Okay, but it's actually a physical reaction to that. Nature. If I don't get nature, that would be wonderful. Okay, this is the first half of Pembeto, of the power of of intention, as redefined in this particular book. You know, it would be great if I didn't feel that too bad, Takpo. You see, if I didn't feel it very heavily, that would be nice. Okay. Lektu, Kelte Chungyang, but if I do, okay, this is your Pemba, okay. But it's in the Dakye. Kewa lembe Pemba nandembe dawe usu shuk. Okay. But that's another story. Kelte Chungyang, even if it does happen, Tonglen soke gone, lam tu longsu ditar che. I pledge, it's my intention, that I will do Tonglen at that moment. You see? I will turn it into a spiritual path. I will intentionally, I state my intention now, and I will keep practicing that at the moment of death, when I feel that death pain, I will take all the death pain of other beings on me at that moment. Okay? Sound familiar? I know. No, okay. Yeah. Okay. And that's a Pemba. And that's the use of Tonglen during death. Okay. And I wanted you to hear that separately. Okay. I mean, this is a special kind of Tonglen. At the moment of death, and you have to get ready. You have to practice. Pemba means you do it like 20 years before or something. You keep preparing for that moment, and you get used to the idea that when that pain hits me, because I have thought about it over and over and over again, when the moment comes, I'll be able to do it. Okay, I'll be able to keep my mind clear enough to take on the pain of other people who might die. Okay, and that's a special kind of Tonglen. And just to have that intention is very powerful. Okay. And I wanted to review one more time the 3 spheres, and then we'll do some meditation. Okay, I think it's important to hear it a couple of times. When you do an active Tonglen, when something bad happens to you, let's say you have a friend and you get into a fight, and they're like yelling, you know, someone that you love has now become someone that you don't like, and it's very painful. This is one of the special sufferings of being a human being, you know. It's one of the reasons I became a monk, personally, you know. It's one of the reasons I wanted to know what's happening. It's, you're in a relationship with somebody, and you have some feeling towards them, some love towards them, and then suddenly things start to change. And then after a while you don't like them anymore. And then after a while you actually hate each other. Or there's some strong bad feeling between you. How do you do Tonglen at that moment? What is the core sum of Tonglen at that moment? Okay, what are the 3 spheres at that moment? And I think it's very important to focus on the person and realize how have they gone from beautiful to ugly? You see what I mean? What happened? How have they gone from wonderful to terrible? You know? How have they gone from the most interesting thing in the world to the thing you'd like to avoid in the world? You know, how does that happen? And just from observation from 15 years old, boyfriend, girlfriend, high school stuff, okay, I can tell you, logically, I don't think she could have changed in 3 months or whatever it was, you know what I mean? Like, unlikely, right? Unlikely that this person's nature could have changed in 3 months so radically. You see what I mean? Or was it I just didn't see at the beginning what they really were? What really happened? You see? I said their nature changed, but that's That's a mistake to say that. Why? They don't have any nature. You see what I mean? They don't have any nature to change. Nobody's nature changes. When you're in a relationship and something goes sour, there's no nature of the other person to go sour. Okay? You have to get used to that. They don't have any nature. If you thought they were wonderful the day you saw them at that party, and, kind of accidentally wandered over towards them, that was coming from you. You see what I mean? The beauty was, seeing them as beautiful was coming from you. And then all the excitement of trying to get to know them and all that, and that was coming from you too. And then obtaining this object, that's coming from you. And then the object slowly degenerating and going down until finally this is the last person you'd want to see. All of that is a barometer of the wearing out of your karma. You see what I mean? By the way, was it a good karma to meet them or a bad karma? I'm not talking about in the first couple days, all right? It was a good karma. It was pleasant. If I ask you, was it a good karma or bad karma, you only have to say one thing. Was it pleasant or unpleasant? If I say it was pleasant, then you have to say, well, it was a good karma. Okay? And then it came from a good deed or a bad deed? A good deed. Okay. Now I'll give you one more piece of information. It degenerated, or it went downhill. Okay. At the end, we didn't want to see each other. All right. Was the good karma a pure good karma or an impure good karma? You see? Was it dirty good karma or clean good karma? Dirty good karma. Okay, and you have to get used to the difference. All right? Dirty good karma is the reason to be a Buddhist in this world. Okay? That's the whole reason to be a Buddhist. It was enough for me. That dirty good karma is enough reason to be a Buddhist. Dirty good karma brings you something nice and then rips it away from you. Okay? As it wears out. And it always wears out. You see what I mean? We want to tell dirty good karma to go to hell, okay? I mean, that's the reason to be a Buddhist. You want to learn to do pure good karma and not dirty good karma. You see what I mean? Pure good karma is responsible for the change and the loss of all good things in your life. And unfortunately, dirty good karma is responsible for all the good things in your life right now. Ergo, you're going to lose everything good in your life. You know what I mean? Your own health, your own body, your friends, your spouse, your family, your house, your career, your talents, your intelligence, your teeth, okay, your hair, okay? I mean, all of it. Anything created by dirty good karma must leave because it wears out. Okay? The karma wears out. It was a great comfort for me to know I was not such a creep. You feel guilty, like every time you get in a relationship, it seems to go downhill. And don't worry, it's not your fault. It's dirty good karma's fault, all right? And it has to be that way. It will always go that way. By the way, that's why the human mind can't be satisfied. That's why the human mind always wants more. I used to have people, I would hire people for my job. I had to interview them and hire them. And they would come the first day and they would be so, in Tibetan they say, Pagmar Nangshin, they would be like a new wed bride, all shy and, oh, I really like the job, Mr. Roach, I really need the job. I would love to work here. I can't think of anything. Pay me anything, doesn't matter, I just want to get in, and so you hire them, and then like 6 weeks later, it's like, I gotta go home early tonight, I hope you don't mind, and by the way, I was wondering if I could get a raise, and then all that stuff, and then 6 months later, it's, hey you, I can't stand this job sucks, and everybody here is miserable, and I hate this job, and then. And there's this big cycle that all people go through, and as a manager, you watch it, over and over, hundreds of times you watch it, and it's dissatisfaction. Your own mind is also a result of dirty good karma, you see? So your own mind must become dissatisfied, you see? Anytime your mind is happy or satisfied, that is also a result of a dirty good karma, and it must wear out. And then you get called what we call dissatisfaction, and you want more. You see, the human mind can't think any other way in its present condition, and that's like one of the biggest sufferings. Aside from all your relationships slowly falling apart, is this other thing in your mind where you, if it did go on at its same level for more than a few months, you wouldn't be satisfied anyway. You'd want something more interesting. You know, this person's really cool, except, you know, and then, you know, and then you start going out again. You see, that's the nature of the mind. Dirty good karma. So you have to try to see how to do pure good karma, because things are empty. It's possible that you could have a relationship that would be good forever, and it's possible that you and the other person wouldn't have to die. You see what I mean? And that would be very nice, you know. And then you have to understand their emptiness. You see, that would be the way. They are not empty. I mean, they are not good from their own side. They're not bad from their own side. They're empty. If you could maintain a certain level of karma, if you could be good enough for long enough, and if you understood things well, things wouldn't have to change. You see what I mean? You could enjoy a world where the people around you were always happy and always healthy, and you always felt the same about each other. You just have to know how to collect that much good karma and keep it going. You see, that you have to find a karma that wouldn't degenerate. And that's mainly caused by wisdom. All right? It's mainly caused by understanding the emptiness of all of these objects. Collecting good karma very purposely. Finding the best good karma and then keep doing it. Some people say it feels like artificial. You know, it feels like dressing up a mannequin and, you know, taking it out on a date. You see what I mean? It's like, it feels like, you know, artificial somehow. I would like to have this kind of person in my life. I'll do this kind of karma over and over again, and then they'll be like that, you know. But it's cool, why not? You see what I mean? The way a Buddha paradise is constructed is quite artificial. You are designing it in advance. You know, you're saying, I would like to live in a place where things don't change, where they don't get worse. I would like to live in a place where people don't get old. I would like to live in a place where no one around me is angry, or where no one around me is upset, and no one around me ever changes, you know. I would like to live in a mind that never gets angry again. You see what I mean? I would like to have a body that wouldn't get old, you know, like that. Is it possible? I mean, that's why you're here, really. That's the big question. Is it even possible? Most Buddhists are frankly on the level of, I'm going to Kadampa Center to stay calm, you know. I want to learn to be calm. Or I would like a few friends, you know, I need some company. Or seriously. Or, you know, I'm kind of attracted to Tibet, and Tibetan lamas. Those hats look very cool, and they seem to be very beautiful people. And, you know, there's different reasons why people come to a Dharma center. I don't know how many come with the serious intention of saying, you know, I would like my body to start getting younger. I would like Raleigh, North Carolina to turn into a Buddha paradise. See, how did you think it was going to work? Did you think there was a Buddha paradise somewhere out on highway such and such? You see what I mean? What, in the back of your mind, what were you thinking when you came here? When you thought about Buddhahood, did you think there was some place that you could go? You know, you always close your eyes and you see somewhere up there. This is from the Christian thing, the Judeo-Christian thing, you know. There must be a place up there. somewhere, over the rainbow. I mean, that's in the back of your mind like that. You really do think that. Even when they draw a paradise, Ganen Hagyama, I don't know if you have. They're all up there, And in your mind, back in your mind, you don't seriously entertain the idea that the entire city of Raleigh, North Carolina could become a Buddha paradise. You don't think in those terms. And you don't really think that your bony old hand could become an angel's hand, Or you could become, you're always praying to Manjushri. You don't really seriously think you could become a Manjushri. You know what I mean? You really don't seriously think that. It's because you don't understand emptiness, you see. If things are empty, you can do it. And it is not some other place, you see what I mean? Raleigh, North Carolina, the United States itself will change for you. It's not like you have to move out. You don't have to get a visa to go somewhere, Seriously, what did you think? What was in the back of your mind all this time? It will be that radical, It will be like that. And that's why to become a Buddhist. You have to find some kind of karma that would create that. Okay? Because things are empty. Raleigh, North Carolina is not a self-existent object, which means it's changeable, which means you can make it into a Buddha paradise. Frankly, when you reach a Buddha paradise down here, y'all, it's gonna be right around here. You see what I mean? We'll come visit you. We're taking care of the Northeast. We'll meet you somewhere in Maryland, I guess. Mason-Dixon line. You take care of this half. We'll take care of the other half. And that's really the way it will be. How to create that kind of karma? Tonglen is very powerful. Okay. That's one of the reasons to do Tonglen. Okay. Tonglen it's bodhicitta that can make it happen. And so you have to do Tonglen. Tonglen becomes quite a serious thing. Okay? Doing Tonglen answers the question of whether you die or not. Okay? The question of whether you die or not will depend on Tonglen. It's not easy to change this much bad karma. You see what I mean? This is pretty concrete. You see what I mean? This is pretty close to being real. You see what I mean? Raleigh, North Carolina is pretty close to being self-existent in a way. It'd take a lot of karma to change it. It's one thing to make yourself feel a little better. It's another thing to actually change physical reality through your actions. And that takes a lot of good karma. You have to do something very powerful. Tonglen is very, very powerful. So that's another reason to do it, okay? Remember, I started off this conversation talking about the emptiness, the three spheres, the emptiness of you, okay, and the emptiness of the person you're doing Tonglen towards, your boss, right? Remember the context that we're in. Something crappy happens, and you have to start meditating on the three spheres. Where did this boss come from? Where did this stupid company come from? Why am I an employee here? Those are the three spheres. And each one of them is empty. You see? The boss is empty, what proves it? The guy next to you thinks it's wonderful that you're getting yelled at. Okay? The place is empty, why? The boss loves this place. It's creating millions of dollars for him, My boss. What's the emptiness of prove the emptiness of me? I am empty, why? My mind changes all the time. Sometimes I like this person, and then 6 weeks later I don't like this person. Why? If I was self-existent, my mind would never change. Because I'm empty, I have to watch my mind change. Okay? So all three are empty. All three can become enlightened. Okay? And Tonglen is the way. Tonglen is the only karma that can bring you this kind of a paradise, is bodhicitta. Okay? You have to do Tonglen. You don't have a choice, actually. All right? Why does it work? Because things are empty. All right? And I don't want you to get to the first of the 5 powers of. You see? I don't want you to get to where you're dedicating your death pain. You know, you're taking on other people's death pain into your death pain. You know, you don't have to do that. And it goes back to the book. Take your refuge commitments, right? You're going to get that after the break. And keep them. Just keep them. And then things will change, you see. Then the only way to change them is to track them constantly. Every few hours you stop and you see how you're doing. It's a matter of life and death. You see, it's not just like, are you a nice guy or not? Nice guys die too. Okay? You have to be really good. And the only way to do it, practically speaking, is to keep tracking your progress every few hours. Stop and check your progress every few hours. Okay? Then you can change those things. Okay. We'll do a Tonglen, all right? Getting late.
The three spheres of the object, the subject, and the act of...
Yeah, Don asked, what exactly are the three spheres? There's actually an argument about it in scripture, and if you do some surfing, you can see in Tibetan. In the act of giving, for example, there's two opinions. You know, one says the giver, the recipient, and the gift. But the more correct presentation, I believe, is the giver, the recipient, and the act of giving. See what I mean? The whole situation itself. The giving, the giver, and the givee. The yeller, the yelly, and the yelling. Okay? The person doing Tonglen, the thing you're doing Tonglen about, and the act of Tonglen. Okay? That's the three spheres of Tonglen. And it's the emptiness of each one. Why does it matter? Why couldn't we just concentrate on one emptiness? You want to change the person you're acting towards. You want him to be an angel too. The minute you get pure, by the way, you not only see yourself as pure, but the people around you also. Okay? It wouldn't be much fun to be an angel surrounded by the same old schmucks at work. Okay? All right, seriously. All right? They change too. You purify them also. Does that mean they're not schmucks to themselves anymore? No, you see? And to be frank, as you start to purify yourself, there's a sort of an ambiguity. You see what I mean? As you start to purify yourself, you start to see someone sometimes pure and sometimes not. You see what I mean? And I'll tell you a trick. The nature of this process is that they can't admit to being who they are right away. You see what I mean? Because your karma's not pure enough yet. So you would go through these situations where somebody would say something or do something, and you could take it either way. Okay? And then they say something or do something which you start to think they have to be an enlightened being. And then you ask them, you know, come on. Tell me the straight poop, you know, are you an angel or, you know, are you an enlightened being or not? And what will they say at first? You don't have the karma to, you see what I mean? Get used to it. I'm just warning you, okay? I mean, you'll say, are you magician? They say, me? Get back to work. Don't be silly, you know? And, you know, and because you don't have the karma. You see, your karma's not pure enough yet. And then, you know, like 6 months later, you know, are you magician? You say, maybe. Get back to work. You know what I mean? And then, you know, finally one day, are you magician? They say, yeah, you caught me, you know. Welcome, you know. And all three are valid. All three are true. Okay? For you. Because the person's empty. And what I'm trying to say is that the purification is a gradual process. And Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither are Buddha paradises or your fellow enlightened beings in your Buddha paradise. Okay, all right. Let's do a short Tonglen. Okay. I'm just going to go straight through it because we don't have much time, okay? Watch your breath. Now focus on the one person in your life who's meant the most to you, the closest person to you. That's not a lama or something like that, okay? The one person dearest to you in your life. And think of some pain that they have and see it as a black ball. and bring it to you. And see a red light in your heart. And think of some specific selfish thing you thought or said or did today, even if it's small. And focus on the ball and the flame. And when I say go, take one long breath in. And see them touch, blank out. And then there's some smoke that goes away, and then there's just white light. Okay, go. And focus on the white light and focus on them and think about how relieved they feel, how good they feel. Now see the white light mixed with your breath and moving in and out of your lungs. Stretching out in front of your face to maybe 12 inches or 15 inches away. And then you're pulling it back in. Stretch out the out breath a little more. You'll feel your tummy move. It's past the out breath that you normally take, that you normally let out. Make sure your face is relaxed, your forehead and especially the corners of your mouth. And make sure your chin is up. Now see the air going all the way into their nostrils and down into their lungs, and then coming back again when they breathe out. So you're sharing one piece of air. Then when the light goes into them, down to their, through their nose, down their throat, into their lungs, see the light spreading in their body and the organs changing. Buddhists don't have internal organs. They're just made of light, almost like empty inside. And they're like bodies made of light. So see slowly spreading inside the other person this light and the organs changing into light. And we'll do that for 2 rounds of 10. You are making them a Buddha. Okay. And change your breath back to normal, and while you're watching your breath for one round of 10, then enjoy what they've become. And dedicate this to their enlightenment. Okay, then we'll do the dedication verse. Okay, we're going to have I think it's going to be about a 20-minute break. Okay, so then we'll start that ceremony. Okay.